Hi, friends. This is Wendy Harrop, and welcome to the Say Yes to Yourself podcast. On the Say Yes to Yourself podcast, you'll hear stories from women just like us who are adding the practice of saying yes in their daily lives in big and small ways, and as a result, are experiencing the truth that everybody wins when you say yes to yourself. Saying yes to yourself is a graceful unfolding, an intentional becoming of the very best version of you. It is my hope that in these conversations, we are able to find our truth and be inspired and empowered to live our very best lives. I'm so excited to go on this journey with you, and I look forward to finding a bit of our own story in each other's. Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. And I am just, I know, I keep saying it, I'm just happy. I've been in the beautiful details of our France trips. I've been in the beautiful details of farm stays. I just love that everything about my job is about connecting. It's so good. And there's usually really good food and really good drink involved in that as well. And that just seems to bring really good people into my gorgeous little orbit. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of that. Thank you that I'm at work right now. This is so fun. And I just had a really beautiful conversation with a new friend, Pamela Dussault, and I'm just so grateful. I made a decision. I say we because I told you about it. So I feel like it was our collective decision to really be intentional about curating the community that we desire. And I feel like I said that once or twice and then didn't harp on it. And whoa, has the universe responded in abundance. People just find me and they send me beautiful emails and ask if we can chat. And then I invite them to be on the podcast. And then they say yes. And then we have these dreamy, expansive, amazing conversations all before I need to get back in the car to go pick up Amelia from school. It's just a dream. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of that. Thank you for being here. If you don't listen, I don't get to talk. So thank you for doing your part, and I'll keep showing up for mine as well. And if you are enjoying this podcast, I would be so appreciative if you would write a review either in Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. Writing a review is such a great way to, I don't know what they do in podcast land, but they somehow push the podcast to other people that they think would enjoy it. And I would love to grow this community because you all are just good. You're good people, and we need to find each other, and we need to let more people on our team. So I would really love that. And I, of course, love when you just write your own personal review in a DM or in an email to me. That is super treasured, but I'm not allowed to add those to Apple Podcasts. So if you wouldn't mind writing a review and giving us a 5-star rating, that would just be really special. And I'd appreciate that so much. Okay, I'm going to tell you about Pamela. She is amazing, but her formal bio reads, Pamela is a skilled consultant and coach with over 20 years of experience and knowledge in handling personal crisis. Her journey has involved dedicated study and practice in diverse healing techniques, culminating in the development of her own unique method. Having mastered these approaches, she transitioned to teaching and training others, acquiring invaluable wisdom along the way. Now, as a certified coach and consultant, Pamela works one-on-one with individuals using her signature system to guide them through their storms, ensuring an effective path forward towards victory. She also offers her talents to corporations seeking to develop a more compassionate and understanding workplace. Her mission is to empower you to navigate crisis with ease and safety, and to the ultimate success of becoming the most joyful you. That's what she gets to do when she's at work. It's all fabulous. Oh my gosh. Okay, I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation. So grab your beverage of choice and sit back and relax and enjoy my conversation with Pamela Dussault. Sweet Pamela, I am so excited to have you. I'm so thrilled to introduce you to my listeners, and I'm just going to catch them up briefly. Typically, I tell them, oh my gosh, I've already been chatting with this woman for such a long time, and I wish we would have hit record. But my schedule for the day was not going to allow that. And we had never spoken to each other. So you had the brilliant idea to hop on a call. So yesterday, friends, while I was shoveling snow from in front of my garage for my supper club guests tomorrow night, I had the most amazing expansive call with Pamela. And now I am so excited for what the next several minutes are going to bring, and just how she's about to bless your life. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel the same way about our conversation yesterday. After we hung up, I was just glowing to my husband. I'm like, this is so great. I needed, to meet people like this have them in my life. It's been a while, especially with COVID, we're hidden. And as much as being out working with people, just kind of like being stuck inside and doing a lot of it remotely, which I'm doing, kind of keeps you from that. So just having this connection that even though it was over the phone and even now that here we are on Zoom, it still feels so good to have this positive, uplifting energy that you just bring about. And I love it. So I'm so grateful. And thanks for having me today.
Oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
was so beautiful. Thank
Oh.
you. It's really, it as you know, it takes setting an intention,
Mhm.
and it's an intention that I set probably, gosh, time is so hard to keep track of these days. I think probably 2 years ago, let's say, I just made a decision because of things that were happening in my life personally and in my marriage, that I needed to be incredibly deliberate about the community that I was curating and the conversations that I was available for. And I told my friends, I told my team, I understand that there are things that the world needs me to attend to that are not delightful and whatever, but I am only available for conversations that center around rainbows, unicorn, glitter, champagne flutes, blue skies, green lights, all of that. I just was in a season where I needed to only open my door to good.
Yeah,
And some well-meaning people were concerned that I
sure.
was in this denial or not being grounded or reasonable or whatever, like none of those words. I like the word grounded. I don't really like the word reasonable. Um, not a fan. Practical, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And I can say on the other side of that, making that declaration that I thought was just a band-aid for what I needed in that moment very quickly became a lifestyle without me knowing, similarly to when I decided that I was only available for what delighted me. Like I thought,
Hmm.
oh, well, there's a new mantra. Let me try
Yeah.
that on for a week and see how it goes. And that's just a really darling little jacket I have not taken off yet. And
Yeah.
it's the same with these kinds of conversations and this community that I've curated that includes the beautiful, gorgeous humans that listen to this podcast. We are connected. You are my people. You are a part of this glitter, rainbow, unicorn, champagne flute, blue sky, green light conversations that I am
Right.
here for. And it
Yeah.
is just an immense blessing.
It really is. It's so good. And I think that, having been in working with helping others, guiding others when they are so low
Mm.
is and up, but uplifting them is really what, I don't know, that's what my mission is. It's to get them from where they're at in, of course, in a crisis at this juncture in my shifting of my careers and my hats, um, and bringing them into this higher vibration and
Mm.
into joyful experiences despite the pain or the suffering that they might be going through. And it's easy to kind of get, I don't want to say pulled down by it, but almost maybe even jaded in a way, because there are a lot of people out there who are suffering and who are in pain. And to maintain that, higher vibration, like, no, it's going to be okay, and come with me.
Right.
Come with me. We need to have those people, that tribe and that community that is up there
Mm-hmm.
to keep us going forward, to keep us doing this work, to, again, to uplift everybody.
Yes.
So,
And it is
yay.
not a toxic positivity. It's not
Mm-mm. Mm,
a toxic denial. It's actually
right.
Marianne Williamson speaks about this in her companion course to A Course in Miracles, which I am a student of. I'm in my second year. I can't imagine I will be a student of the Course of Miracles until I die. It is so rich and beautiful. But she talks about this aspect of positive denial, where I'm not denying that things are happening and there's suffering in the world. I am
Mm-hmm.
denying that power over me.
Precisely. Yes.
And that's how we can make change. That's how you
Yeah.
can invite people, be empathetic in what is happening in their lives and show them a way, and not expecting someone, yesterday in our conversation, we were talking about the book Ask and It Is Given by
Yeah.
Jerry and Esther Hicks. And it has that emotional chart of
Mm-hmm.
joy being the highest and fear being the lowest, and not asking people to go from, is it 22 at the bottom or 1 at the bottom? I can't remember. But you're not asking
I don't
someone
remember
to
either.
make that leap of all 22, but you're just asking them to go from fear to despair. There you go. Like,
Yep.
that's just
Right.
that's
Right.
one up. And then you can go, because you can hold that vibration, actually. You can
Yes.
sustain it
Right.
and still let yourself be sad, and then let yourself be mad, which is actually a higher vibration than sad. So
It
you can
is.
just keep stepping up. Now, in your work, I will ask you like the normal podcast question, but I have a question. In your work, you've already referenced pain and suffering. And I have lived a privileged life. So I don't want this question or this statement to sound like I am discounting anything. And I really would love your opinion and your thoughts
Mm-hmm.
based on your work. So I have heard a quote that, just that pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And I'd like to know if you find that to be true in your work, because that's something I feel like I could say, because I do have an emotional bend toward positivity, and I am a resourced white woman living in the United States.
Right. Right. Yeah, I 100% have found that to be true in my work.
Okay.
And it's great that you brought that up, because suffering is a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's an attitude, it's a belief, but it's also this mindset where you're kind of skewed toward the negative, skewed toward pessimism, and you're blind to anything that is actually joyful in your life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so, yeah, I have found that across the board. And I found that there are people who want to take those blinders off, who want to be able to change their mindset, who want to move from this suffering kind of mindset and into, okay, I can see that, I can appreciate that there is, okay, there is some aspect of joy. And there are people who find their power
Yeah.
in suffering,
Mm.
in not being joyful, and being, that miserable person.
Yeah.
And that's my power. And that's okay. That's their choice. That's their free will to do that. And obviously they're not going to be working with me because
Right.
yeah, so yeah, there's a huge difference between pain and suffering.
And
Yeah.
would you say that that power is true power, or is it an illusion of power?
Interesting. So I would say that it can be a true power. And this
Mm-hmm.
is how it can be a true power: through manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to talk about all these negative things, but this is what I see and what I've experienced. Um, Dependencies,
Sure.
codependencies, all of those, sort of buzzwords that are toxic,
Right.
that with certain people, yeah, it
Right.
can be a power. And fortunately, those who are maybe drawn into that
Mm-hmm.
power can find themselves and be able to break free, and then find their own power, their own true power, that
Right.
is the joy, that is the love,
Yeah.
and all that is good and delightful and
Right.
beautiful. Yeah.
Right. Oh, I love that differentiation, because that it is a power move, but it is powerful. It requires other people buying in
Yes.
to the suffering person's sad story. Their power comes from draining the life out of
Uh-huh.
everyone around them,
Yes,
including
yes.
themselves, where when there is a decision made to make that shift and they find their own power in choosing to own their own experience, it has nothing to do with anybody else. And
No.
everyone else that, maybe even enjoyed living in that suffering and that victimhood, because then they didn't have to address their stuff either, because they could
Oh,
just
yeah.
blame you for, how domineering or how oppressive you've made their lives. You make a shift, now they have to make a shift,
Mm-hmm.
because their power source has been cut off, and that person making the decision to choose joy, to choose a different path, to choose whatever's the next rung up on that ladder, it becomes a shift that does not require the energy of anybody around you, because you're tapping into your own source energy. And then you realize, whoo, I only thought I knew power. This is no joke.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, 100%. You just described my life in the past 25 years.
Well, what a beautiful career choice. And I mean, you said that this is shifting into, this wasn't what you were initially doing. So share with us how you landed on this beautiful work of bringing people from victimhood to victory.
So for 20 plus years, I was involved in the healing arts. I was a practitioner, I was a trainer and a teacher. I mean, I learned a lot of different modalities. I even developed my own modality.
Cool.
That was wonderful, and trained people in it. But what I found, and I would have people come to me from all walks of life, is that they would come to me and say, I'm going through this crisis. I need healing so that I can move forward with my life. And I knew, well, okay, I'm going to give you some healing, but here's the thing. You're going to need to move forward anyway. That is your healing. And I was kind of restricted from walking with them, you know, in my own mind, from walking with them throughout the entire process. And when I thought about, I'm getting really kind of tired of this, what is it that I really want? I love helping people. I love watching them rise. And this was the key. It was, I need to change so that I can walk with them every step of the way and help them to rise. I want to see the end result. You know, it may be selfish, but I consider it a win-win, where I get to witness who they become when they are through this. I didn't get to do that when I was doing healing work. They
Oh,
would
right, because you
come,
would just see them for their sessions, and then the package would end, or they would stop making appointments, and then you just didn't know.
I just didn't know. I just didn't know how they made it through. And I mean, I knew they were getting better, which was great. And I knew that there was an improvement, but I didn't know. I wanted to know. I wanted to know what was going on in their lives, and how it was improving, and what was happening, you know, what's happening with you. And so that was when I made that shift, and I said, this is what I want to do. I want to be a coach. I also knew that I wanted to be a consultant of, in some ways, where I might be able to make a bigger impact in terms of, you know, working with within workplaces, and, you know, helping human resources cultivate better relationships with employees who happen to be going through their own crisis. And so I had bigger thoughts and bigger ideas to reach more people, to
We all
uplift
do.
them.
You're in the right place, Queen. We've got big dreams around here.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
But also, you know, keeping with working with individuals one-on-one in that way. So that was the shift that I made. And I really only made that 6 months ago. And yeah,
Exciting.
it's very new. And I love it. I love it. I am loving every minute of it. And that's,
Oh, say more. What do you love that was a surprise? You knew you wanted it, but now
I
you
knew that
have it, and you're,
mm-hmm.
how is it playing out?
well, it's playing out very much like I thought it would play out, where I am getting to know them. I'm making more of a connection, I
Mm.
think, with people in their lives. Um, Again, seeing little shifts of improvement from that place of victimhood and into that place of empowerment. Um, and all the most delightful thing is watching their own perceptions of themselves change and shift.
Beautiful.
So I think that's probably the most, I knew it would come, but having it is surprising too. I don't know if that
Oh,
makes sense,
yay.
but
No, it makes
yeah.
perfect sense. There's something really beautiful about joy. It communicates in all languages.
I love that. That's so
Yes,
true.
it is. And your energy and your glee around that is what is communicated. So your clients must just be so thrilled to have found you.
Yeah, they tell me that, so
Receive
I'm very
it. It's
glad about
good.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Okay, so in addition to that, and I do talk more about that as much as you would like, but I have found that in recent recordings of the podcast that I have completely forgotten to ask my interview question until we're almost done. So, how are you saying yes to yourself in this season?
I am saying yes to myself by allowing
Mm.
myself to want even more,
Yes.
even more good, even more joy, whatever it might be. I too recognize that I am privileged. I have experienced an incredibly joyful, beautiful life.
Mhm.
It, I've had moments of not, but right now I am, and for the past 18 years especially. And I am so deeply grateful for that. However, my thing is that it's okay to even want more.
Yes.
That well, it's interesting because I think especially for somebody who has been working as a healer,
Mhm.
and even, in the spiritual community, if you want to think of it that way, that it's, we do need to just be grateful for what we have. And there's almost the sense of like denial or resistance or
Mhm.
martyrdom, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
to say, oh, that would be wrong
Mhm.
to want more. And
Yep.
I that is not my truth. Um, and I am going to be in alignment with my truth and to say yes to allowing myself to even to want more.
I
Yeah,
love that. I am
yeah.
defying my own conditioning that says that that's selfish and that I should just be happy with what I have. And what am I even think? What can I, why do I even want more? What am I going to do with it? Like, what, that's just
Mm-hmm.
hoarding or that's just
Mm,
being greedy. And um, anyone that would have that impression, I can't imagine that they actually know me because
right.
I'm not a hoarder, I'm a sharer, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
greedy, I'm generous.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and I have no idea how this is going to hit my listeners' ears. And I am eager to have more of a conversation about this, but I'm feeling like the acknowledgement of being privileged and living where I live and having all of the beautiful gifts and things that I have can cause a person I mainly hang out with women and they are my audience, so can cause a woman to feel like from a lack mindset that me wanting more is somehow making less available for someone who lives in a less fortunate situation.
Right.
And I am coming to a personal understanding and belief, which we know a belief is just a thought we keep saying. So this is my belief that
Yeah.
I actually, because I believe my soul decided to be in this earth at the time that I am on this earth, that I have a responsibility to that, and that I am not going to squander my privilege by not doing what I'm capable of and what I desire. Because when I create more wealth, I can be more generous
That's
and
right.
I can do more for people in another part of the world, another part of my town. I can do so much good, and I can never be poor enough to alleviate her poverty. Like that doesn't
That's
make
right.
any sense.
No,
So
none.
I desire to generate wealth by being of service to people who want to have a farm stay, to people who want to go to France. And with this wealth, I will have more rooms and a longer table and do more in Kenya and do more with all of the beautiful organizations and people that I meet on these travels. Like, this is all for us. And if you're listening and you want more and you don't want to share it with anyone, go you. I
Yeah.
just feel like
You do you.
we have been so censored and told
Yes.
to stay small and be pleasing and be a good
Yes.
girl and
Yes.
don't
Not
be
be spoiled.
selfish, right?
Yes.
And don't be
Yes.
ridiculous and don't be frivolous and don't want, because that means you're not grateful. And that makes me want to say a bad word. That
Yeah, I know.
is not okay. And I'm
Me
not like,
too.
you can say it, like I'm learning. Sorry, mom. I am learning to not censor myself.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's 55 years in the making. So
Yeah.
I get really close to saying a bad word sometimes, and they're not bad words. To say a word that I normally gave a lot of power to. And I traded my own power for the power of a word, and I'm no longer available for that. So I will say that is bullshit to
Yes.
think that that we are selfish to want. We are actually responding to what we are here for, to
For
what God is
yes.
dropping in our hearts. We've long established on this podcast that if these dreams are in you, these dreams are for you,
That's
that
right.
God is not mean. He
Right.
has a plan for you. You are co-creating that with him, and he needs your hands and he needs your feet and he needs your voice, and he needs you to do the things that are in your heart, because there's purpose there for far more people than just you. And you're
That's
not
right.
being selfish.
No, no. I mean, there are countless people who are wealthy and who have it all and who are giving, and we love them for
Yes.
it, right? We love what they are doing and the all the humanitarian work that they're doing. And why not? Why not us?
Right.
Right? We like you said, we have this dream in our heart. And it's not in our heads, it's in our heart.
Right.
It's something that we are, and we can't deny by squashing it
Mhm.
because of whoever or whatever is telling us that it's not okay.
Right.
We're not doing anybody any good,
Right.
And as I said earlier, that this is exactly what I was talking about when you are working with people, who are in pain. By going down to that vibrational level
Mm-hmm.
in order to understand them or to commiserate with them,
Right.
you're not helping them anymore.
Mm-mm.
You have to maintain that higher level vibration, and that is what we are here to do.
Right.
And if it's the joy that we get in being able to share the wealth,
Right.
to be in that position to share the wealth, or whatever we have in abundance, whatever.
Right. A wealth of anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. um then that's what we're doing, our service.
I agree. And, I think it even speaks to earlier in our conversation talking about the person with like that they're committed to their story. And
Mm,
if you decide to up level and pull yourself out, everyone that was feeding into the sorrow party, they now have to make a decision.
right.
So listening to these voices that say it's selfish to want more, I think that there are a couple of practices we can do around that. We can ask
Mhm.
ourselves, whose voice is that
Mm,
actually? Because is that even our voice, or is that our uncle? Is that our mom, our dad, our brother? Like, is it
right.
somebody? Is it a school teacher? Is it, it's actually, there are two phrases that I grew up in a beautiful, loving, fabulous environment. And so much so that there's only one thing that my dad ever said to me that broke my heart in half that I can recall, because there was only one. And then there was one thing that my mom said. And like, I don't think that they ever thought about it again.
Right.
And I, until recently, could not even get that out of my head. So, and the thing that my mom said, and like this was so long ago, I think I was maybe in high school. She said I was selfish. And that really impacted me.
Oh yeah.
And it made me shut down desire and want. And clearly, I have been healed of that. And she has been healed of that. I don't believe that she finds me selfish. And if she does, it also doesn't matter, but I know she doesn't. Um, and it really takes intention, and it takes discovery, and then a decision that we have to
Yes.
make on the other
Right.
side of that. Once we've identified whose voice is that, and then are we going to listen to that voice,
Right.
or are we going to tap into our own power, knowing that we are good and
Mm-hmm.
that we will do good in
Mm-hmm.
our wanting of more, whatever that
Right.
is, um, that good will be the result of that, even in addition to good health and good manners and good other
Mm-hmm.
beautiful qualities. Also money.
Mm-hmm.
Mother Teresa said it takes a checkbook to change the world. So we need wealthy women that are going to
Yes.
do good things with the
Yeah.
money.
Right. I totally agree. I totally agree. And I remember being called selfish. And when I was making the very difficult but necessary
Mm-hmm.
decision to end my first marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not doing it only for me. I was also doing it for my children.
Right.
But I remember being called selfish in making that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was like being stabbed when that was said.
Mm-hmm.
I was, in a way, just dumbfounded. I didn't know what to say to that. And afterwards, of course, I thought of all these, retorts that I could have had, and explanations, and being able to defend myself in my decision. And I realized it doesn't matter,
No.
because if they're going to have that opinion and or judgment,
Sure.
then who am I to change it? I know what the truth is in
Right.
me, and I know that, and I tell all my clients this too, if they're in this situation where they need to make a difficult decision
Hmm.
that they know may hurt somebody, may hurt a few people,
Sure.
but they need to be honest with themselves about it. And that at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters, because the truth really does set people free.
It's true.
And that if your intention is to, uplift the people around you, whether it is your children, if you're making a decision to divorce or something
Right.
like that, then it's all good. It's all good, and all roads lead to Rome, so they say, right?
Right.
It will all turn out to be okay, because your intentions are pure. They are not to hurt anybody.
Right.
They're only to uplift and bring more love and bring more joy in your life, and again, if it's your children, in your children's life, whatever it might be, then there's no wrong in that. That is not selfish. It's quite the
Right.
opposite.
Right. Right. And I think I'm so happy that your clients have you, because any decision like that, it requires a lot of introspection
Mm,
so that you can, when you hear something like that, because of course I've been called selfish by countless other people
mm,
since that day. That's just the one that stuck. Um, but when someone says something, has an opinion about something that you want to do or something that your clients are choosing, when you've spent that time with yourself and you know what you desire, you know how to want, and then you know what to want, and you allow yourself to want it. When you are in
mm,
conversation with someone and they make a comment, it's not, you're like Teflon for that. It
mm,
doesn't stick to you because there's no part of that that feels true inside of you. So if someone said, Wendy has green hair, like I don't even need to respond to that comment because my hair is not green. Like
mm,
I don't need to justify it. I don't need to do anything. If somebody says Wendy is not a good mom because she wants to spend a month in France and
mm,
Amelia can't go with her because of school, well, that one might catch me a little bit because maybe there is some truth in there. Maybe I feel shame about
yeah,
wanting France and wanting to be a good mom. And how can I have both of those things? Well, I can release the shame
right.
because and this is a hypothetical thing. I don't I feel like I'm a fabulous mom because I spend a month in France. Um, and I can say that because that is actually my truth, and I have
Yes,
anchored in that. But I only anchored in that after I felt the twinge when somebody said something.
right.
So it is, it's an ongoing practice. But when we are feeling like we need to be defensive and we need to make sure that they understand our point of view, all of that is just showing us that there's some work still to be done in us about this topic. And you can still want it. You can still spend your month in France. It's all fine. But let's
Yeah,
just also do the healing work
yeah.
around, why do I
Why?
feel like that's making me a bad mom? Is that, or is it actually making me a good mom? Am I modeling for her that you're allowed to want and that she is in a safe, protected place that supports her
Yeah.
education and her relationship with her dad. So yeah, she's fine. And
Yes.
I'm fine too, and everyone is fine.
That's
But
right.
but it took, I had to stop. I had to grab my journal. I had to pray. I had to meditate. I had to, do the actual work instead of just deciding, oh, you know what, that person's right.
Yes.
I better stay home.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely 100%. And it it's wonderful that you know what it is that you have to do, that you know that, okay, this is a time for me to meditate, this is a time for me to pray, this is a time for me to be introspective. And you're not afraid to be introspective. There are a lot of people who really, it's like, if I look at that, that's going to show me the exact thing that I'm afraid that I am.
Right.
I think that I'm a bad mom. If I look at that, then I'm going to see that I'm a bad mom. And of course, 99% of it is the opposite.
Right.
It's not true. You get to find out that no, there is wonderful things about you. And um, yeah, I think that's great. And I know part of my work is to guide people through those tools, those exercises that they can do
Mm.
to reflect, to be introspective, to meditate, to feel their truth, to know, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what is really all this about? What is really my truth? And to not be afraid,
Right.
to find the courage that they have to even do that. Again, to take those blinders off and open up their eyes to their authenticity and
Right.
discover that it's even more glorious, the opposite of what they were afraid of
It's
seeing. So
absolutely true. I have found that, the things that I would be afraid, a secret, oh, if I ever speak of this, some shame is so dark, right? If I ever speak of this, if I ever let it out of my mouth, it will crush me. And what we know is once we speak that in a safe container, like your clients have with you, it loses its power. As soon as it comes out of your mouth, it's so much smaller than it was. And then the
yeah,
opposite is true about your dreams, because sometimes we don't want to say what our dream is because we don't want somebody else to crush it.
that's right.
And once we say it out loud, it grows, it gets water, it gets sunshine, and thoughts grow as they are shared. And when you tell your dream to me, whoo, like it's Miracle-Gro. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
excited. I want to hear about the dream. Tell me. I will water that thing. That's what these trips are to France, right? It is
Yes.
not, yeah, we're going to do these beautiful things. We're staying at a chateau. We're going to go to all the things. That is, sell them what they want and give them what they need. This is a safe container for you to desire and say that out loud and get some ideas of how that can come to fruition by these other fabulous high vibe queens that were
Uh-huh.
all created this beautiful vortex because we're away from our chores. Like, oh my gosh, you're going to come home with a business plan and investors. Who even knows? Like,
I love
anything
it.
can happen.
That's
Right?
so
Like, there's
wonderful.
just, but we are afraid sometimes to say that out loud because
Hmm.
we don't, it's precious. It's precious to us. And I just love knowing that the opposite happens when you let that out, and the opposite happens when you speak what you believe shall never be spoken.
Yeah, right.
Because that's how it keeps its power over you. And when you
Yeah,
really, oh man, when we find out how powerful we are and how benevolent we are, it's just good.
it is. It really is. And it's catchy. It's
Yes.
catchy. It's like it, again, it comes back to it is why we are here, that it is of service. And the more we are in that place and spreading that joy and that love and that juicy, magical vibration, the more other people can pick up on it and rise up too.
Right. It's a collective up level for sure. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What amazing work you get to do every day.
I really do. I'm so blessed. I love it. I love all of it. I love life, and I'm just so glad. And I'm so happy to be talking with you about all of this. This has just been such a wonderful conversation so
Oh my
far.
gosh. I am too. I am at work right now. That is crazy.
Right. Yes. See?
Yes. So yes, I am a huge proponent in knowing what you want and allowing yourself to want it and then having it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And that's where I'm at.
Oh my
Is
gosh.
that I'm not afraid to stand up and say, yes, I do want more, and that's okay. And I'm going to allow that.
Yeah.
And see where it takes me.
I love that. And I've loved this conversation. Please tell people how they can follow you, how they can work with you. Are you only taking clients in person? Do you do virtual? Tell us everything, please.
Right now, I am doing virtual work, and I am absolutely open to having new clients. Just want to tell a little bit about the program
Please.
that I'm offering first.
Love to hear.
So I work with people, women and men, one-on-one, and I will be helping them, guiding them through their crisis. And as I mentioned before, in that process, I'm teaching them tools, I'm helping them take the steps along the way to cultivate the courage that they need, to change their perceptions a little bit in ways that definitely support them, and to rise from being a victim to a victor, right? To rise into that place. And so the program is 12 weeks, and they can find out more about it on my website, www, of course, .pamela Dussault, DUSSAULT consulting.com.
Perfect.
They can also follow me on Instagram, which is at pamela.dussault.com. And I'm on Facebook under PC Dussault. What else? I'm not on X. I don't go on X much. Certainly I'm on LinkedIn. They can find me there. And if they just wanted to reach out to me at any time, they're welcome to email me at hello@pamela-dussault-consulting.com.
Perfect. Well, we will link all of that in the show notes, but thank you so much, Pamela. And I'm so thrilled that we live close by. So we get to have these conversations here on Zoom and also in person. Bubbles in the barn are in our future. I'm so excited.
I am so excited too. I cannot wait.
Yes. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You too.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. As always, any links or notes mentioned can be found at phineaswrighthouse.com in the podcast section of our site or in the show notes below. And if you haven't connected with me personally, come find me on Instagram at Phineas Wright House and let me know you listened to this episode. I'd love to get to know you. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I know your days are full, and I'm really grateful that you chose to spend some of your precious time right here. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of these delightful conversations. I'll see you next week.